Now we're going to get to week 7 self-defense. Week 7 self-defense, we're going to address the attacker grabbing us from the front, bear hug from the front, arms are free. Now again, the danger of the bear hug is not the actual action of the bear hug itself. It is the thought process of the attacker or their actual intentions, which is something we'll never know. Again, we can be lifted, we can be taken to the ground, tackled, we can be held while somebody else initiates an attack, or even someone trying to transport us to a secondary location. Now, because our arms are accessible, immediately we're going to create space using our arms as a wedge, using a frame, and pushing the head away. It doesn't matter where their head is, whether their head is up or their head is down. We're not going to change the defense based on what they're doing. We're going to stick to the principle of just creating space using our wedge, and then counterattack immediately so we can immediately evacuate the danger zone. So it looks like this. What happens now is the aggressor grabs me. Either he's tackling me, transporting me, pushing me back, whatever. His head could be down, his head could be up, he could be on my chest, he could be on my other side. It doesn't matter where his head is, I'm not going to waste any time. Again, we don't have the time to exactly identify what's happening. This is happening so fast, so aggressively. We're going into shock, we're panicking. So immediately our mindset is to create enough space so I can attack him as aggressively as possible. So we're using our wedge. I'm sticking my arm towards his head, and I'm pushing it away as far as I can. Again, where the head goes, the body follows. Immediately start counterattacking, non-stop, knees, elbows, hammer fists, whatever we can do, so that we can evacuate the danger zone. One more time. If his head is up, let's assume that. Maybe his head is high. Again, I just need to create space using my wedge. No matter how hard he drives, he cannot push past his own head. His head is going to keep him back. My wedge, my frame I'm using, like a 90-degree angle, is going to keep the distance that I need relative to him. Immediately counterattacking aggressively, and now I'm getting back to the danger zone. One more time. Let's assume that the attack is with a push, because again, it's never in a vacuum where there's very static. There's always some sort of dynamics. He could be lifting me, pushing me, pulling me, taking me to the ground. Let's assume he's driving me back. He's driving me back and back down. It's the same thing. Creating space necessary so that I can counterattack immediately and then evacuate the danger zone. Or deal with any additional threats that I need to. Again, let's assume that I'm getting lifted now. He grabs me up. I'm getting lifted. I want to create space using my wedge, using my counterattacks, and evacuate the danger zone. Now we're going to get to week 8 self-defense. This week we are going to address headlock from the front, also known as the guillotine choke. What's happening now is the attacker's grabbing you from the front, placing their forearm against your trachea, and applying pressure and squeezing your neck. With this, the immediate danger, of course, is having your trachea crushed. So we'll address that first, violently counterattack, and always evacuate the danger zone. Okay, what we're dealing with now is the attacker grabbed us, placed us in the front headlock, and is applying pressure to our trachea. This is the immediate danger we must address. We're going to turn our chin, same side hand, parallel hand is going to provide a block, no forearm, hugging it tight to our chest. We are not going to get that much distance. We're not going to be able to peel his hand off, we're just not strong enough. We're only trying to get enough space that we can be operational without having danger to our trachea. We're going to strike to the groin. From there, when you hit someone in the groin, biomechanically the hips are going to go back, which means his head is going to tilt forward. Immediately, my hand comes up to the face, pushing on his jaw. As I'm pushing on his chin, I'm applying leverage to his neck, and I'm popping my head out. Still continuing to hold his arm, now I can engage him with additional attacks. Violently, aggressively, counterattacking to neutralize the threat, and then finally evacuate the danger zone. Headlock from the front. One more time. The danger. Arm across the throat. We address that first. Strike to the groin. Hand comes up to the chin. Apply leverage on the neck. Drive them back. Put weight on the heels. Counterattack aggressively. And then evacuate the danger zone. Now we're going to get to self-defense for week 9. This week we are addressing the attackers behind us and initiating a headlock from the rear. Now, understand the dynamics here. If somebody sticks their arm around your neck, immediately you need to respond. If the attacker was able to sink it in and get into like a full vascular neck restraint, now the complexity arises. Now, we're going to have to change the whole dynamics, start trying to implement a weapon, whatever we can do, because once that's on, we only have a few seconds before we pass out. So we're dealing with the context that we are getting grabbed, maybe for that, maybe the person has no idea how to do that, they're just grabbing our neck trying to pull us off. But as soon as we get grabbed, that needs to be addressed. The danger, of course, is the arm across the throat. The arm could be either around the trachea or to the carotid arteries. Now, as we deliver that attack, or as the attack is delivered, we're going to initiate a block, rotate, and then counterattack. What happens now is the attacker is initiating his attack, bringing his arm across the body, across the neck. I'm going to immediately deliver the plug to stop his action. And we have the offense-defense principle problem with us. So immediately, once I grab, I'm going to strike. My goal is just to bring my hand down and hitting into the groin. I'm not being target specific, I'm just bringing my hand down and slamming it down. Rotating the body sharply, keeping control of the arm, popping my head out, and then immediately counterattacking more. Aggressively, violently, neutralizing the threat, and then evacuating the danger zone. One more time. He grabs, the pluck is on, counter, drive it out, control, hit, and evacuate the danger zone. Now, a few points that we want to address. It doesn't matter if his arm was across my trachea. It doesn't matter if his arm was deep or around my his carotid arteries or his elbows near my chin. And preferably, we're trying to stop it even before he locks it on. If it gets to this situation, it's a little too late. I'm going to have to start to fish. There's a lot of other things I'm going to have to do. But we're dealing with this a little bit sooner in commission of the attack. As soon as the attack is made, I want to stop it. This arm, as soon as it travels in front of the body, needs to be stopped. I need to get his mind off continuing the attack. So I'm going to push reset. And how I do that is by clicking pay. Strike to the groin. And then immediately, without losing control of the arm, rotate the body, popping my head out the back, following through with additional attacks. Headlock from the rear, and of course evacuate as always. Now we're going to get to the knowledge domain section of class. Now in this section of class, what we do is we bring them all together, all of our students, they kind of huddle together, and it will usually be written down on a dry erase board, or we'll simply have it printed out on posters for our other schools. On this section of class, this is great, not only because it really gives the students more in-depth knowledge, because again, you're teaching adults, and adults usually, they have a thirst for knowledge. They want to learn exactly what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how they're doing it. So this answers a lot of questions, but it really informs them of the realities of self-defense. So for example, this is week 7's knowledge domain. Physical reactions to a violent attack. So this way, we're addressing not only the physical component of self-defense, but now the actual understanding of how it relates to the body, how it relates to their physical reactions, their perceptual changes that will occur, maybe even their psychological changes they'll go through. We address a lot of them. We have 12 different weeks related to self-defense, and the knowledge domains will change every week. Now, for the students to advance from level to level, there are tests, written exams, that they're required to pass before they actually take the physical test. And in the written exam portion of the test, it will relate to the self-defense. So test 1 will actually be the first 4 weeks of the knowledge domains. Test 2 will be the next 4 weeks, and then test 3 will be the last 4 weeks. And then you'll have a chance to see all of them when you come to Jacksonville. So just going over it as if this was class, I'll say, okay class, now we're getting to knowledge domains, so everybody come over here, please, have a seat. Let's go over this. This week we're covering physical reactions to a violent attack. It's very important that we understand how our body's going to respond to the sudden shock of being attacked. That way we can adapt and overcome. So first of all, violent confrontations, they are stressful and they're very emotional. They're going to cause dramatic physical changes in your body. Your heart rate is going to increase to provide more blood to your muscles. Breathing is going to become rapid and shallow. Pupils are going to dilate to take in more light so you can actually see your threat better. Your muscles are going to tighten in anticipation of sudden movement. You're going to lose fine or complex motor skills. They're going to start to dwindle, and sweating and trembling will occur. So based on all of this, this is how our body's going to change. One, we're suddenly attacked. One, we're overcome with the fear and panic, and we have to go into some sort of engagement. This is how your body's going to respond. Now that we're able to identify exactly what the changes are, now we can be more focused on our objective, and that's to neutralize our threat. So again, knowledge domains, looking at it from an instructor point of view, it's very beneficial. It enhances your students. It increases the value of the classes that you're offering, because now it's just not punching and kicking and everything else. Now you're actually educating your students, and you'll see that a lot of times when students are injured and actually unable to participate in class, they usually will show up
just so they can study the knowledge domain along with everyone else in class.